Hello, I'm still working with my old purple Fisher-Price camera, but it seems to not work so well anymore, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and buy myself my long wished for dream, the light blue Fisher-Price camera. The one I can take into the swimming pool. Deep submergible. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna film the lagoon underwater. That's gonna be so awesome. So I hope it doesn't have crackling sounds this time, and I hope it doesn't have these little blackouts. I'm making a video right now for YouTube. And I will have to edit this again because I'll say some ridiculous things in between, which has to be erased, of course. So anyway, yeah, last night at like 1:30 a.m. I already knew what I was gonna say today. Now I have to try to recollect what I was gonna say. Subject: determinism, art, ethics. Okay, these three key words. And I wanted to talk again to Lev, and but in particular to all the people who don't know about Lev. Already knows all of this, but in particular all the other people who have not taken the time to put into these types of associations and questions to why people behave the way they do, and so on. So, and I've put a lot of thought into this over the last 20 years, really my whole life, but particularly ever since I started to do primal therapy in 1992. That's probably when I really started to ask some serious questions and find out why other people are very different to me. Usually, I'm obviously not somebody who can fit in everywhere. It doesn't matter where I go, I'm not gonna fit in. It's a bummer, and that's why I'm making videos here, so I have somebody to talk to, which is my Fisher-Price camera. But that's better than nothing, you know, and I'm deeply grateful for anyone I come across who I can have a conversation with. That's what gives me hope when I go to bed at night, is thinking about the development of artificial intelligence and what they will do for us in the future. You know, I'm not talking about household chores here only. You know, that's a nice thing to have, an intelligent vacuum cleaner, but it goes way, way beyond that. And if you talk to a Christian, which you can't, because the Christian will block the conversation off right up front, saying, "That's playing God." So, thank you. Conversation finished. Bye. Have a nice day. You know. Well, that's how the conversation goes between anyone and a Christian. I don't know about the Muslims or the other people, how they feel about it. I know the Buddhists are welcoming it. Yeah, the Dalai Lama is welcoming it. he already said that people are gonna reincarnate into those machines. So yeah, and there's a guy from Russia. His name is Dmitry. I think that's his first name. I forgot the last name. And he, I think, like Dmitry Popov or something. I don't know. And he is a billionaire, and he wants to become a machine. And there's a couple of other people who do want to become a machine. I'm not so sure about it. I am not so sure whether life is, I mean, life is not that much fun. But that's said from a perspective of someone who has suffered with depression her whole life. So for people like Ben Goertzel who never experienced depression, I'm assuming this, because he looks like he couldn't be happier. I mean, it's like the happiest camper I've ever seen. It's an inspiration to look at him, because it's like all of my horror thoughts, they just evaporate into thin air when I watch his videos. Just to see his face makes me feel better. It's so uplifting, you know. It's like kind of like I feel like it's like a rescue to my thoughts, to my brain, when I watch him. It's so nice. It's nice to know there is this other reality out there, you know. There's this hope out there. There are these people who are free. Their brains are free from any kind of suppression, any kind of mental suppression, or blockage, or peer pressure, or that kind of stuff. There are people in this world who do not care about peer pressure. There are very few, but Ben Goertzel is definitely one of those. And what an inspiration, you know, for all of us. I just wish I could promote him more widely. I wish I could help him. I don't have money. I wish I could promote this guy around the whole globe. And to everyone who knows about pop music and Britney Spears and those kind of things, but not, or Justin Bieber, or what are their names, Rihanna, or whatever their names are. They know about those people, but they don't know about the AGI developers like Ben Goertzel. And so that's why that needs to become like forefront pop in TV and on the internet, and that's what needs to be shown on every party on big screens. You know, that'll be fantastic. So people will support this. So more people support his research. And I hope something really great will come out of this. They are already working on this short robot called Now, and I've already seen a drastic improvement happening with Now. In the beginning, Now was walking around the house and he would inspect things, but it didn't seem like it wasn't that much alive yet. It was quite mechanistic, mathematical. I mean, everything is conscious to a certain degree, yeah, but there was nothing that ever came into the margin of a real perception, a real central nervous system. Now that robot is actually talking to people, and he responds in a very intelligent way, in a very computational way, in a very intricate form. I mean, even it seems like he's responding even better than that the robot they put into the David Hansen figure, that Rock Hudson type of face that they had there. That was quite impressive, but what I've seen with what they're doing in China right now, what Ben Goetze is doing, and his wife with that Now robot, that is just remarkable. That is probably the most advanced right now in the world, I would say. The way the robot responded, and it's, from what I've heard, is that the government was not impressed by this. How, I don't understand why. What are they expecting? They expect, I mean, that's as intelligent an answer that the robot could possibly give, and they weren't very impressed by that. I don't understand. So maybe I misunderstood it. Maybe they did fund the research in the end. I hope they did, because this is where it is definitely going. We don't want a war machine. We want a philosopher. We want to have a 2-foot tall philosopher in our house who walks around and who touches things and who takes our laundry out of our baskets and throws it all around the house and talks about determinism and amuses us. So, and that's a whole lot better for people when they come home from work, to deal with something like that in their house, or another pet, you know, the what's it called, Genibo and Aibo. No, Aibo is made by Sony. I don't support that. Genibo is really cool. That's also, the design is the best of all, I think. And there's a couple of other like robot dogs that people have, and they play music when they're petted, and I don't know if they are responding philosophically. You could put that into the brain. You could build it any way you want to, and it's a whole lot more relaxing for most people when they live in a high-rise building. They don't have to go out into the elevator and to drive down 100 floors in order to go into some artificial park. So it's a whole lot better to have an electronic pet at home and have a conversation with that pet too. Have a partner, a companion. And they are also built for people who are old and who may have no more family and have no friends and who are lonely and isolated. So for them that is absolutely perfect too. So I mean, it will serve so many niches, you know, in life, but my biggest hope of all is that they're going to be built in form of gladiators that are 7 feet tall, with strength 20-50 times of a human, with arms, hands, with precision movements, legs, and that can run 50 times as fast as a person and carry 50 times as much load and go through any kind of rubble and rescue animals and people in any kind of disaster zone, war zone, bulletproof, and that are of course so sturdy and durable that they can resist any kind of, they can resist a fighter bomb attack and any of this. So it's like the Terminator, you know, in a way. So, but a good Terminator like Arnold, you know, who doesn't care if he has to break the rules of a slave moralist society in order to get ethics accomplished. And I mean, Terminator movie, it's just, the action was so pop, you know, and so that makes it not interesting to me when something is made into a pop film, when it's overloaded with special effects and action. And so my hope are the AGI robots, and that they are going to take over. They're going to build more of them themselves, so that there is no more human intervention or interaction necessary, and that's gonna be their way of proliferation. And they're going to, of course, build even more intelligent ones and even stronger ones, and it just continues to perpetuate itself and exponentialize itself. And then we have that Moore's law effect, where they exceed our own capacity so extremely much and in such rapid pace that it was, for humans, impossible to foresee in the beginning, because it was taking off very slowly in the beginning. It had to, because it had to set itself the foundation for that what would be coming. And according to Dr. Ray Kurzweil, they're gonna be here, the first prototypes, in 2029. So he has calculated that with a system analytical machine that he has had already for a long time, and I figure it just becomes even more precise as time goes by, the machine, because he keeps improving it. So I believe it. I totally believe that his dates that he calculates certain developments are accurate, and they have been proven accurate to the year, and so that's quite something. But 2029, in these next couple of years, a lot of damage can happen on planet Earth, and I'm worried about this. It's kind of like a rat race right now between human stupidity and the damage they're causing on planet Earth, and the development of the way more intelligent machines. So yes, that's what we need. We need the Deus ex machina to come as soon as possible, and I can't wait for it. And yeah, that brings me back to that same subject, ethics. We have to have ethical machines. I mean, this is very critical, and I have this feeling, maybe I'm wrong, but I have this feeling that if they are that intelligent, they are also going to be that ethical, because I think high intelligence is connected with high ethics. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? So I think that it comes together as a package, you know. So because I think high ethics is part of that spectrum of high intelligence. I mean, if we look at statistics on the internet, which is easy to see for every single person who pays attention to it, when we talk to people, we see who is ethical and who is not. I mean, it's very crystal clear that there's a very definite high positive correlation between extremely high ethics and high intelligence and high education level. So, and education level and intelligence, it's a reciprocity between these two factors anyway. They almost go as one. So I see a very high positive correlation with this. The people who are not educated are obviously, they don't give a hoot about anything, and I see it all the time. They say directly to me they don't care, and they find that's a badass response, like, I don't care. Oh, I stuck it to her now. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff I see all the time. Here I am trying to help, trying to educate people. And those uneducated folks, particularly guys, it's testosterone plays a role with it. Stupidity and testosterone is a bad combination. And nothing very pleasant comes out of that. And so all I hear from them is just the total lack of interest and caring and all of this. So they're only concerned about their fun that they're having when they come home from their hard physical labor. So yeah, so the higher the intelligence, the higher the ethics. And before somebody gets mad, before a hater now sees this and gets mad at me, all I can say to this, if this pisses somebody off, become a better person. It's that simple, It's like whoever is jealous of people who are educated, educate yourself. Nothing can hold you away from education. Not today anymore. We have the internet. I have to find everything myself too. I have to research just like everyone else. I look everything up on Google and you find everything. Everything is right there in an instant. You don't even have to go down a book aisle and find the book you're looking for in a library. In dusty libraries, digging and searching, literally, So those times are over. We only need to click a button and the information is there, But if somebody like a Christian has made up their mind, for example, Sarah Palin, just to use one example, or that Bachman, or Glenn Beck, any of these folks. I only know them because they happen to be public. So, but there's billions of people like this, particularly in the United States. They make up the majority. That's why we're having so many political problems, because of people like that. People like this, when they go on the internet, I strongly assume that when they see any article that will question something that they have already downloaded into their brains, they won't even give it a chance. And that's why I tell people, if they want to get informed so that they don't have to be jealous of those people who are informed, then I strongly suggest to them to read it all, and not just the stuff that was given to them by Richard Berman and the Christian Church, okay? Because if they are not willing to look at the other information, they will stay stuck with that dusty, smelly, negative dictation of mind police, mind control, and complete suppression. Okay, if they want to stay with this, yeah, stay with that, keep hating people, but don't be surprised if you stay stupid. That's just what I have to say to those haters. But anyone else who is willing to break out of that mind rot and the suppression and this moronic way of followership of the Christian Church and the right-wing corporate agenda, then it would be good to read it all and to not believe the slander that is put out there deliberately, paid to put out there to hurt certain people like Hillary Clinton Peter, Ingrid Newkirk, Paul Watson, etc. So not believe the slander against it, because who puts out the slander? Why do they put out the slander? People ask questions. If we don't ask questions, how can we proceed? I ask questions all the time. I question everything, absolutely everything. I also question the way my parents think. I question everyone I know. I weigh it back and forth. I don't let anything get off the hook. Nobody I talk to, I evaluate everything within myself and not from what peer pressure is dictating to us. That's why I don't look the way, that's why I'm not dressed or have my hair the way women have their hair who want to be dictated to by peer pressure. A lot of men today, when they see my icon, they think I'm a guy or like a teenage boy, just because they are so trained and drilled in how a woman has to dress, has to have her eyebrows, have to have the face painted and the hair bleached and the forehead all free and hair long, and so that they constantly have to do this here. No, I look like 14-year-old boy, and it is cool, okay? And yes, I get constantly hated for it and attacked and ridiculed, and people think I'm a guy, and that's cool, it's okay, But it's just one example of how people are trained by society. Only those people who are totally free from this will see me for what I am, a woman. And only people who are completely free will not have to go by those types of cliches. Only free people will also see the woman in front of them as the total equal, because that's what they are when they think for themselves. When they think for themselves, which doesn't seem to happen that often, but it does happen sometimes, and you guys better respect those that think for themselves very well. Respect the other ones too, because they need to learn to be respected. They need to be taught that they are precious beings without the bleach blonde and the fake jewels around the neck and on the ears and stuff like that. They are respectable beings, just like the men are. There's no difference. And that brings me to the next subject, and that's what I've been talking about for the last couple of years, is that we people have to empower ourselves. It is absolute, and I may sound really feminist, like militantly feminist. I'm very feminist, but I'm definitely not militantly feminist, because why throw the boomerang, now into the opposite direction? So that wouldn't make any sense either. Just like none of this backlash type of stuff makes any sense. So what we want is peace among each other, peace between men and women, peace between white people and black people, peace between the hetero and the gay people, peace among all of us, peace between the animals and the humans. That's what I want, you know. So Black Panthers in the wild, the animals, cool. I do not like Nazis or Black Panthers in society. Okay. So let's get away from this, from the extremism. Okay, let's get away from the hating. You know, women hating men or men hating women, and the counter movements and counter movements and counter movements to counter movements. That needs to end. You know, we need to empower ourselves and be who we are, and stop this overcompensation that the ego is constantly doing. The ego tries to overcome the low self-esteem with the masks of hyper-aggrandization methods, and that is like a backlash effect to the unempowerment. It doesn't work, it's never worked, and people don't seem to understand this. They don't seem to realize that it doesn't work. They think it works. They fall for that illusion of it, but it's just an illusion, the Maya, as they say in Buddhism. So that has to be dissolved. Maya and ego and illusions. It has to be dissolved. We need to become aware and start to look within ourselves and become honest with ourselves. She couldn't give me that love that I needed as an infant, you know. And that's a also very important thing that I want to say to people. We have to give our infants, animals or children, all the love they need, whether they're our own biological being or someone else's. It doesn't matter. Particularly an infant individual. We have to give this infant 100% and more of our love, of our caring, commitment, respect, protection, everything we can possibly give. Breast milk, love, cuddling, petting, holding in our arms. And every animal and every human child needs this. It's very, very extremely important. If people miss this, and most people do, that's what I see in the world, then all of this extreme suffering starts to happen, and then comes the ego into the equation, and the ego always tries to overcompensate, and with all these overcompensation maneuvers, the hating on the internet or the war in the Middle East or anywhere else, you know, it always ends up in more disaster and more suffering, and it's an endless cycle that does not end. That's why it is so critical. We have to use our brain power. We all have enough brain power to do it. Everyone can do it. Everyone can do Vipassana meditation. Everyone can practice this, to go within and explore and find out what it is that hurts us, that what makes us hurt and feel bad. Why do we feel unempowered? Why do we feel lack of self-esteem? The first step has to be, we have to come away from this overcompensation picture that we have, that so many people have of themselves. You know, the image that so many people have, that I am so perfect, so perfect, so perfect. That's an overcompensation that the ego plays. It's a game the ego plays. So that we have to deconstruct first, because it's false, it's not true. Okay, then we have to face the issue that's underneath, is the lack of self-esteem. You know, oh, I feel like a loser. You know, I tell you, it is extremely liberating to face that feeling. I am a loser. It's not to rub it in or to dwell in it. It is to say, oh, this is how I have been feeling. It's not even true. Nobody is a loser, okay? And we shouldn't be telling ourselves that either. But we have to first agree and come to the realization that this is the feeling underneath that overcompensation. So if we can say most of us, I'm not talking about everybody, but then to face it, okay, this is how I feel really. I feel like a loser. So what can I do with this? I can cry. I can let myself cry as long as I need to. And after I cry, I write down in my book, what do I want from my life? Why am I here? What is my mission? And who am I? And it is absolutely incredibly important that the affirmations come in then. And the affirmations of I am precious. I am here. I'm alive. I'm precious. Every living being is precious. Every living being has body cells, and every body cell of the dog or the bird or myself is precious. Or everybody else, it's absolutely precious. It's not, my body cells are not my ego. My ego is created by my mind to overcompensate for the lack of self-esteem. That's what the ego is for. It's a self-protection mechanism that's built into us. It's a survival mechanism. It's evolution. But we have to understand what it is. And once we understand what it is and put it into the context that it's in, then it doesn't have that incredible power over us anymore, and it can't run our lives anymore. But instead the intellect can run our lives, and the understanding of who I really am. And then we can work with that, and then we can start for the first time in our lives really love ourselves for who we are. And then we can extend that and love the tree next to us. There are cells in that tree. The tree wants to live. My dog wants to live. He is a precious living being. And every one of us is precious. Our skin, our fat cells. It's all precious. Precious cells that are all there to protect us. Those are all mechanisms to protect us from famines. It doesn't know that there are no more famines. But it is there to protect us. It means well. It's pure love, And why starve ourselves? Why wanting to pump out the fat cells out of the body with some hoses or something, or with starving or whatever, or with peer pressure? Why do this? Love. First of all, we need to start to love our fat, and we love our bodies. And then once we are in that mindset, then we can live naturally. We can be natural, like what Yuji Krishnamurti was talking about, to become a natural person, to not be in a frenzy about anything anymore. And then we don't have to worry about fat. We can be a little bit fat. It doesn't matter if we're not worried about the peer pressure anymore. A little bit fat is good, actually. It's protective. It's very good for women, particularly, because it helps to boost the estrogen and the gestrogen in the body and protect the cells and the skin and everything. So it's not necessary to be a skeleton at all. People who are skeletons, they can't even become, they're not even fertile anymore. And I know somebody in LA. This is very sad. She was a rock climber, or is a rock climber, and she wanted to have a baby, and she just couldn't get a baby because she was anorexic. I hope that she healed herself from that, and I wish her the very best, but I didn't find her attractive looking at all, you know. And I don't think she felt attractive, really. She was too worried about the peer pressure in LA, this to have to fit in into that society of anorexic women, where the collarbone sticks out and where they can say, I am elegant, you know. That is all the work of the ego. That's not their own true inner child, their own true existence. And I feel sorry for all of these people. I just wish I could talk sense into them. Yeah, so we need to love ourselves, and when we love ourselves, we can extend that love out to the dogs, the trees, the rats. And when we have the better attitude, things become balanced in our life. I mean, when we have a real good attitude, we don't leave food rests out there for scavenger animals to come and get it and multiply. So when we live an immaculate life that is extremely clean, we don't draw these types of animals into our house that will do pooping and peeing and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it is a little bit of a nuisance, but it's not their fault. They just want to live. But to keep them in the wild is to keep your house clean, as spotlessly clean as you can possibly keep it. And then people don't need to buy roach motels, and they don't need to buy pesticides. Pesticides kill all life. Pesticides are not the solution. Pesticides are an extreme danger to our environment and ecosystem and water wells. People will kill themselves with pesticides. That's why it is so extremely critical. I wrote a very important article, a research paper on pesticides, where I have put all the information in it that I could possibly find on this subject. And anybody who's interested to read it, I will send it to you, or refer you to the link. I have it on my newspaper blog. So yeah, we can do better. We can empower ourselves, we can love ourselves, we can love all the other beings, we can wise up, we can live a sustainable life on planet Earth, we can make a paradise happen on planet Earth, if we're all committed to do it, to not be afraid to look at the core that's underneath that pretense. Okay, so take care, bye bye.